It's on.
All right, guys, we're going to call this meeting to order. Monday, January 6th, first meeting of the new year. And Tim, would you mind saying the invocation tonight? That'd be all right.
Dear Lord, I come to you in prayer tonight and to remember the families in New Orleans this past week, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Please have their families, keep their families in mind, Lord. You know, January 20th, have us transition to a smooth transition, Lord, for the new President of the United States. In your name, Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, looks like everybody's here except for the mayor. Does anybody know? Did he email anybody?
He's out of town.
He's still out now?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew he was for the holiday, but I didn't know he was still. Okay, take a motion to approve the agenda. Anybody?
So moved.
Have a second? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Never had that really happen. Is there something we're missing or need to add, or
Well,
just?
actually, what I was gonna do was make a motion to remove this item on the Hunter's Lane, Wolfpack Lane, because I don't believe that there's anything in this committee that we can actually do to address it. I really believe it needs to be, if it's a traffic control issue, this item really needs to be in Health and Emergency Services, because that's where the Sheriff's Department and the deputies and all of that, if we're gonna hire additional deputies, or if we're gonna do any kind of traffic control, we're not paving a road, we're not putting up any signs, it really needs to be there.
Okay, I appreciate you saying that, and I want to give you the opportunity to speak because you did vote no, and that was not really orthodox, and I just really wanted to hear why, but I will address that in the report of the chair. But thank you for that comment. With that being said, we'll go into public recognition at this time. And I'll remind everybody, you have up to 5 minutes to speak if you're here.
Minutes last time.
Oh, yeah, sorry. A motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Now we'll do public recognition. You have up to 5 minutes. If you hear something's been said ad nauseum, maybe you don't have to take the whole 5 minutes because there's quite a list here. But you have up to 5 minutes, and we'll start with Mike McClard. Please state your name and your address when you come up to speak.
Mike McClard, 102 Tioga Trail, Hendersonville. We live over in the Trail subdivision, which is just adjacent to the Liberty Creek school system, or school campus. As we all know, the traffic there is awful since the schools were built. When that school was first proposed, that was the intersection there at Wolfpack was supposed to be a gated emergency exit only, just like they have over at Burris and Knoxdall at Drake's Creek. Theirs is a gated, it dumps out on the Spear Point, I believe. That's how it was sold to everybody. And people quit going to meetings because, we can live with that, that's no big deal. And then it went to, well, it's gonna be a limited access, but we're gonna put a three-way stop there. Well, that all disappeared. You know, when the public, and I appreciate everybody that's here, we have a lot of people here that live on Hunters that is affected by this every day. I mean, some of them can't even get out in and out of their driveways. But anyway, it all changed as the school was being built. I think if anybody had put any thought into it about building that system, that road system over there, and they had actually intended for Hunters to be used, there'd be turn lanes at Latimer and turn lanes onto Long Hollow Pike, but that didn't happen. But every day during pickup and drop off, we have the same situation. My wife and I went up there. They will not allow, the principal will not allow any cars on the property until 2 p.m. Well, by 2 p.m., they're backed all the way up the hill. They come all the way up in the turn lane on Wolfpack, just follow it right across and go straight up and block the road. And these people can't even get in and out. And if you want to come into your home, into where we live, up on in the trail subdivision, you can't get there. You sit in line. It's just awful. My wife and I went up there at 5 minutes till 2 here a few weeks ago, and there were 22 cars on Hunters. They were already backed up all the way from the school, all the way up, but they were just backed up all the way up the hill, and it's just crazy. There's something needs to be done. I really think that if the principal would allow the kids to get on the parents and pick up, allow them on property earlier, that would help. It's not going to solve the issue, but it will help and get them out of the road. But you know, you buy a home somewhere, you know, you do your due diligence, you check, is there an airport runway down the road here a couple of miles, or airplanes gonna be flying over my house all night? And you do your due diligence and you check your traffic patterns and all that. Well, we weren't allowed that opportunity. The school came to us. All our homes back in there are anywhere from 10 to 50 years old. So we were there long before the school system ever decided to come in. Originally, all that traffic was supposed to come down Upper Station, and even it wasn't built big enough to handle it. But, you know, it creates a terrible issue. And we've got a couple of deputies here, and I told one of them I was going to call him out and just ask the question. If all of us tomorrow go over to Center Point Road outside the city, and I'll be the lead car, and I'll park right in the middle of Center Point Road, and y'all all line up behind me, about 25 cars deep, how long do you think it'll take before there'll be a sheriff's deputy over there telling us to move, I'm going to arrest you, or I'm going to tow you? That happens every day. Every day. Guys, please do something. If the school system isn't going to do it, because Wolfpack is not a county road at this point, if the school system's not going to do something, y'all do something. We need a barrier down there. Somebody needs to put some pressure on the school superintendent. I know he's not an elected official, but the board members that hired him are. And if we may not have direct control, but as voters, we have indirect control. So if he won't do something, then we need to do something. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next on the list is Paul Mangrum.
Hi, my name's Paul Mangrum. I live at 117 Timber Trail. There's one house that separates us and the McLards. You go out my driveway, straight across, and into the school. I support everything Mike said. The other thing is there's a big safety issue. When these cars are backed up and coming up the hill, they're in the turn lane, they're going straight. They don't turn. If there was a deputy down there at school time and they got in the turn lane and he says, turn left and go, oh, no, I want to go straight. No, you're in the turn lane, turn. That would make people start getting over into the right lane, and now you're going down Wolfpack. What I was going to say about the safety issue is if there was a medical emergency, if there was a fire truck, ambulance, a deputy, there's a highway patrol officer that lives in our neighborhood around the backside, they could not come down the hill to make that left turn onto Hunter, to go up to Mount Olivet, to come down to our subdivision. So we're going to be sitting there with a medical emergency sometime. Hopefully it's not me or any of my friends or any of my neighbors. But something needs to be done. if it's nothing more than, and I'm not sure exactly what happened with that, Mike, as far as people having to come in off of Upper Station Camp and line everybody up back toward where the middle school's being built and back toward the high school. If they all came in that way, sure, make this an exit. Let them come on out that way. If a barrier can't be put there, and maybe, not to steal what you said, Mike, but maybe a gate is not, doesn't need to be there all the time, but they'll have it where an emergency vehicle could get through. But if they're backed up and they're going down Wolfpack back toward Upper Station Camp, you've got, what, a mile and a half or so that cars could be backed up that way. So the safety issue was my biggest concern, and that's all I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Bob Sawyer.
I live at 103 Timber Trail, the same community that Paul and Mike are in. When I come home, come down that long hill on Hunter's Lane, and there are 10, 15, 20 cars, I have three options. One is just to wait in line, which take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Another option is to pull into the left lane. Well, that's not a very good option, to say nothing of being illegal. There's not a lot of traffic coming up there, it only takes one, so clearly I can't just pull in the left lane. The other is to wait until I get close enough that I can inch around on the shoulder and get into what is supposed to be the straight through lane. But as Mike said, the people going to the school, they get into the left turn lane, which is supposed to be left turn up to Hunter's Lane. Something that would help a little bit would be signage and enforcement to have the school traffic stay in the right lane until they're through the intersection and then get into their turn lane. We could get a little bit closer to the intersection if that would happen. That's not going to help the people on Hunter's Lane whose driveway would still be blocked. The other option I have is to wait until they get close enough that I can pull around on the right side, get into that right lane, which is supposed to be the through lane. They usually leave that clear, and they will usually leave a space for me to make a left turn. But when I try to make that left turn, I have no visibility at all, again, for oncoming traffic. So it's just a no-win and a dangerous situation.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. April Dodd.
Hello, I also live in the subdivision with the gentleman that spoke previous to me.
I just want to remind everybody, state your name and your address, because I may say it wrong. Just for the record, just name and address.
April Dodd, 123 Ridgemar Trail. I was thinking that maybe a sign or paint on the road that says this lane is for traffic going up Hunter's Lane. I know the first year the school opened, there was a public safety officer down there for just a few weeks, and it seemed to improve the traffic flow. People kind of got the idea, okay, we're supposed to stay over here, but then the next year when the school opened, there was no safety officer down there. I think it would just take a few weeks of training folks. This is the side we need to be in, this is the lane we need to be in, and getting the school principal involved. I don't understand why so many people in Sumner County are untouchable. She gets to make the decision to cause this problem every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope Warnock.
My name's Hope Warnock. I live at 297 Hunters, across from the trails. Not over just the turn lane. There's no reason why there can't be something painted that says turn lane only. I have waited. I have gone into the left lane. I have gotten out of my car. I've been told, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. You can just wait. That's unacceptable. I have a granddaughter that lives with me, so I have to get home if she's there by herself. It's not even just that traffic there, they fly. You know, if you're coming from Latimer and you're going down, there's hills, so these people are doing probably 40, 45. I've called the school, I've talked to Deputy Vance. Nothing gets done. I mean, they fly past my house. I scream at people, they flip me off. You know, so I don't know if you have anything to do with the traffic, but it's not, the turning lane's horrible because the people are rude and they don't really care. But the traffic, the speed is unbelievable. They're coming, some of them come from Mount Olivet, they speed past the house, they throw trash out, you know, if there can be something. The speed limit on Hunter says 35 miles an hour. Why? There's a school there. So, thank you.
Thank you. James Brown.
Good evening. James Brown, 365 Hunters Lane. No relation to the Brown that left all this property here. But I kind of hoped he was my long-lost uncle. But, we have the last house on the left before you hit Hunters Lane. So the morning issue isn't quite as problematic to us. I'm retired twice from 2 different jobs, including a 33 career in law enforcement in California. This is a serious problem. Our solution in the afternoon, somebody said 3 ways to get home. Well, what we do, if it's the wrong time, this 2 o'clock window, we come off Long Hollow, stay on Latimer, go to Mount Olivet, and come around, because that's where our house is, at the corner of Mount Olivet. So we can avoid it that way, but in the morning, there's sometimes a morning appointment, trying to even get out and go Hunters Lane to Latimer, and then try and go down to Long Hollow is impossible. Cars coming back out, and we're pretty sure that people now coming down from White House are cutting across Latimer to avoid the beach cluster there, and they're cutting over, and now Latimer's backing up past the T with Hunters Lane. So even letting these people exit at the end of in the morning or even the evening is going to cause havoc with that little T intersection of Hunters Lane and Latimer, and down there at Long Hollow, because that is just, there's going to be and I second what was just said, the speed of some of these people coming down Hunters Lane is ridiculous. I don't know if just lowering the speed limit would help, because most people would probably ignore it, but I agree. It's been a long time since I've written a ticket for estimating a speed, but yeah, they're doing 45 to 50 coming over that hill. And I tend to think it's the high school students late. It's kind of the impression I've gotten when I've gone to a morning appointment of some kind. But I also agree with what Mike said. We moved there finding us what we felt was a slice of heaven, and built our home right there at the corner. And we've lost a little of that treasure that we found. And we would ask that you please do something about it.
Thank you. John Lammers or Lammons?
Hi, I'm John Lammers of 256 Hunters Lane. Been there since '95. Seen a lot of changes, a lot of houses come in. Largest impact is the school. I will talk not about the school, but about Hunters Lane and Latimer Lane and Long Hollow. Most dangerous intersection I've been in a lot of years, and I've traveled all over the United States. If we don't do something there, we will have a fatality there probably this year. My wife was almost killed the 11/25. We need a traffic light there. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, sir. Sue Lammers, was that an either or? You want to speak next? Okay, yeah, you're good.
But I'm gonna have to speak from over here.
You're
Sue Lammers,
fine, you're fine.
256 Hunters Lane with my husband, again, since 95. I'd like to address, I agree for one thing what Mr. McCord and everyone who's spoken since has said. The issue at the intersection of Wolfpack Way and Hunters Lane, it starts off with, they put a stop sign for the Hunters Lane coming from Mount Olivet, going around the 90-degree curve to Latimer. They failed to put a stop sign coming out of Wolfpack Way. Oh, it's a hill, and we don't want the school people to get stuck on a hill. Sorry. They come flying up that hill out of Wolfpack onto Hunters. If they had a stop sign, at least they'd stop flying. You take your life into your own hands when you make a turn to continue on to Hunters Lane. We were told back in 98 or so, when there was a fatal accident at Longview and I think it's Anderson Lane, that a stop sign could not be put on Anderson because it had been that way for so many years and people would not like it. Well, people don't like the new stop sign on Hunters either, especially with there being no stop sign coming up out of Wolfpack. So there's your sign. The situation of the road at Latimer and Hunters is you've got a 2-lane country road going onto a 2-lane country road, and you're emptying out a 3-school complex. They come in at the light, and they do come up and they come out. They can't get across to turn left onto Latimer, neither can we. They can't get out to turn left onto Long Hollow, neither can we. You can't turn right onto Long Hollow at 3:29 in the afternoon. So we need a widening of the road or of something at Long Hollow, at Latimer and Hunters. We need a stop light at Hunters, at Latimer and Long Hollow. You wanted solutions to these problems? These are the only solutions that I've seen. That is a left turn lane on Hunters onto Hunters. It's marked with an arrow. It is blocked every single day. I have photographs, and I've sent them to some of you. It's maddening. It's life. You take your life into your hands. There's a young lady, a couple that lives at the top of a hill. They have a blind driveway. Mr. Ellis was able to get solar lit hidden drive sign, which was wonderful. And he put some rumble strips in the roadway. They're driving around the rumble strips, and it's a blind hill. So just picture in your mind what's going to happen one day. You're coming the wrong way up a blind hill, and hi neighbor. So I think that's everything on my list. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue. All right, I got Susan Smith.
Hi, I'm Susan Smith at 208 Hunters Lane. I think a lot of what I had to say has already been covered, but we live right at the intersection of Wolfpack and Hunters Lane, and the cars will block that intersection. Mr. Ellis put us up a sign politely asking not to block the driveway, and it might as well not even be there. I did have an incident about 5 weeks ago. My elderly parents live about a mile away on Latimer Lane, and that's one of the reasons why we chose that particular location. My mother had fallen. She has Parkinson's, and my dad called and he needed me right away. And I go to happen to be time for school to get out, go to the end of my driveway, I cannot get out. Politely ask the lady blocking the intersection to please move. She tells me to find a different way to go. I told her it was an emergency, and she said, I'm not moving. So I have to make a right-hand turn, go all the way to Upper Station, go around, get on Latimer Lane, and then go. this is a daily problem that we live with. I also wanted to say something about the speeding. There is a lot of traffic on that road, not just school traffic. I have witnessed personally seeing vehicles, motorcycles use that runway there to race. I don't know what the solution is, but we definitely need something. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Karen Atkinson.
Hi, my name is Karen Atkinson. I live at 112 Ridgemar Trail, which is in the same subdivision as most everybody here. We've been there since, I have to think how old my son is, 35 years. In the same house, the same neighborhood, the same neighbors, and never had problems until the school was put there. And I am retired, so I don't have to go out every morning, but except on Wednesdays, and I volunteer at the hospital. And I can sit there and wait to try to get out, or to try to get out to Long Haul, because I come out on Hunter's Lane. And I just started getting to Latimer and turn right and going the long way around, and come through
Newman's Trail.
Yeah, Newman's Trail is where I have to come out, or I wouldn't get to the hospital for 45 minutes. Sometimes I leave at 7:15 to be there at 8, sometimes 7:30, but I'm never there on time. I don't know what time to leave, because you never know what the traffic's gonna be. But just trying to get out onto Long Hollow. That, I miss the traffic right there at the school, but then I get up to get on Long Hollow, and all those cars are sitting there because they've already dropped the kids off. And they wanna go on, and they're not gonna let you out. So that's what I have to do. That's what I do on Wednesday mornings. But in the afternoons, it's bad too. And the speeding, like everybody said, it's bad. I'm glad that my kids are grown, and because they were Beach Elementary, T.W. Hunter, and then Beach High School, and they're not there to live through all this mess. But there's still so many kids that are. We have an older neighborhood, but we've got a lot of young kids moving in. I mean, a lot of older of us, we don't want to move on either, we don't want to downsize. But it's not fair. I mean, because there's just too much speeding around with still little kids in our neighborhood, or animals that are not under control like we used to have. But anyway, thank you. We really, really need to get something done before somebody gets seriously hurt. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Cynthia McLeod.
My name is Cynthia McCord. Cindy, I live at 102 Tioga Trail with everybody else. My husband actually called the school, and he talked to somebody, and what she told him, cars are not allowed on the school property prior to 2 o'clock. Why? Why? She said it was a safety issue. So none of what she said made sense. So we passed Knox Doss. Knox Doss is probably, I would say, probably 100% capacity. I don't know. The cars were moving great. There were a few cars on the main road, but they were off to the side. You could get down the main roads. It was perfect. And then you look at Liberty Creek, which I love the schools. The schools are beautiful. And I'd much rather have the schools than 1,500 homes any day. And actually, I use the sidewalk as an exercise. I walk the school property every day. But why won't she allow cars on the school property prior to 2 o'clock? I think that would alleviate a lot of the congestion there at Hunter's Lane. If that could be resolved. And I'm not sure what her problem is. Secondly, we asked about 3 or 4 months ago, and I know a lot of these people have been dealing with this since 2022, which I find they have not gotten any kind of answer on Hunter's Lane, and I feel for them. I don't live on Hunter's Lane. But my husband asked about 3-4 months ago if we could get some kind of barriers. They're about this tall, they're about this big around, they're rubber, and maybe put 5 of them right there so that the cars on the right side of the lane that need to go straight cannot get into the turn lane. It's strictly for a turn lane. Those were never ordered, those were never put up. I mean, I'm not talking about the short little orange cones, because I've seen the cones that were put up there on Hunter's Lane. And they're there some days and they're not there some days. People disregard any respect to people's property. I will tell you that. I'm one of the bad people, which I volunteer at the hospital too, and coming home from work, I'll have to turn left. I have to sit behind, I counted 22 cars that were blocking all of these people's driveway. And I'm thinking to myself, if there was an accident, there's teenagers coming up all the time from the high school. If there was an accident there, and I'm gonna ask the sheriff this, I saw him here, where is he?
No questions, please, you can make comments.
No questions?
Just make
Okay.
comments.
I'm assuming that if there was an accident there, first of all, it would be my fault, the accident, because I had to avoid the traffic, and all I wanted to do was go home. Secondly, it would probably be a bad accident, because the teenagers fly up through there. Would there be any room for any kind of emergency vehicles? Any kind of room? Probably not. So I might just go ahead and take my retirement money, my insurance money, you'll be rich. So, and I did have another question, but since I can't ask a question, I will assume the people that are blocking the road, it's a county road, is this a violation? I'm assuming it is. So, where's the patrol officers? And if we don't have enough, I mean, just a school guard. Get a school guard. I don't know. Volunteer Mike. He'll school guard. He'll direct traffic. Twice a day. We need something for him to do. He's retired. So, anyway, that's it. And I don't have a cotton story.
Thank you. Tammy Kimbrough.
I'm Tammy Kimbrough at 137 Hunters Lane. My house is the driveway at the top of the hill. And when we built our house behind our grandparents. So we were at 135 and our grandparents were 137. And when we did that, I saw that I didn't want the postman to be on that hill, sitting duck. So I put a 50-foot driveway in, right there in front, so the postman can pull off the road. And so I go to get my mail. I'm 50 foot off the hill. I should be safe, right? I've almost been hit there twice by cars driving too fast when they're coming up, and it's not just teenagers, because there's a lady in a black Dodge Charger, and she has her little 3rd or 4th grader in the side, and the 3rd or 4th grader doesn't act surprised at all, so she drives like that all the time. She comes up the top of the hill, and she overestimates her situation, and she sees me, and she must realize she's fixing to hit me, because I jump between mine and my neighbor's mailbox, and I thought, I'm done. Like, I could feel the wind, and I really kind of thought I was hit, and it kind of makes me even nauseated today thinking about it, And she didn't hit me, but she tore up my driveway, and then cussed me and went on her merry way, And then this happened again with somebody else, And what they do is they come up the hill, and there's a little bit of a ditch on one side, and when they go too fast, they overestimate, and then they just come through my gravel, you know, down there. It's kind of too bad. But I've talked to a couple of people, and, you know, I've heard the protest why we shouldn't be talking tonight, and I went ahead and came just because I'm so discouraged, because our house was built in 1975. My husband and grandfather built that house, and that neighborhood used to be so wonderful. And I knew Bill Brown, the man who donated the property, and I remember him very well, and he'd have been really pissed off if the shoe was on the other foot. And I kind of know why all that came about, because we knew them for so long. But I'm discouraged because I really don't know that anything's going to change from today. I don't know that y'all are going to do anything. We've talked to several people, and Mr. Ellis is going to come and look at my driveway, and we're probably going to have to pay to move my neighbor's driveway into my yard and into my yard. I mean, I'm having to change all this stuff for school I didn't want. I loved sitting in my backyard and listening to the birds. Now I hear elephant shotguns because new people have moved in the neighborhood, and they decided they got to blow these guns all the. I cannot do any grocery shopping either in the morning or in the evening. I have to change all my doctor's appointments because I can't get out of my driveway. I can sit there all day long. As soon as I think I'm getting out, you know, even with the rumble strips, because I told Mr. Ellis about that the other day, they're literally, I'm sitting on my front porch and I'm looking and I'm watching them. Because my neighbor said, Tammy, I can't hear any of the rumble strips. I said, you can hear them if they go over them, but they're not. And it's not safe like it is. The problem for me, and I've talked to Mr. Ellis and he's told me he can't do this, but I want the cushions. Because here's the problem. All the issues that we all have, people still have the freedom to break that rule. No matter what you do, they still have the freedom to break the rule. The reason that rumble strip isn't working is because they can drive around it. Okay? If we had the cushions, which Mr. Ellis says that's not a good option, but I mean, I drive in Nashville every day. What I like about the cushion is it says 25 miles per hour in this neighborhood. And I'm doing old neighborhoods. They don't even have homeowners association in those neighborhoods. But I have to stop or I'm going to tear my car up. I kind of like my car. And so, which I'm going to obey the rule anyway. I'm just that person. But they have to stop and go a few feet and have to stop and go a few feet. For the speed issue, that's really the only solution, in my opinion. I keep hearing it can't be done, but that's my thinking. So, and if you've ever been almost hit, you understand why I'm concerned.
Thank you, Tammy. Okay, with that, we'll conclude public recognition and move on to report of the chair.
Can you read that list?
Yes. So, I wanted to address the reason why this is coming up in this committee. Statement was made that there's little that we can do, and that's not necessarily wrong because the issue came from a road that has not been adopted as a county road yet. Wolfpack Way is not a county road. But I thank all the citizens for coming, and I don't know any of them. There's so many new faces here. I only know the McLards, and that's because they started coming to these meetings. But I appreciate them coming, and it's an issue that has come up that we have to give an outlet to the citizens because we are the voice of the citizens. We have to give them the opportunity to show us where the problems are, problems that government created. Whether on purpose, whether on accident, it doesn't matter. It's a problem, it needs to be fixed. Figuring out which committee needs to do the fixing can be hashed out, but it needs to have light shown on it to get to that proper committee. I would encourage all the citizens here tonight to stick around for Health and Emergency Services, and maybe we'll add this to that since it's become a safety issue. We'll talk about it again in Health and Emergency Services. The place that I have a little bit of pushback on, there's nothing we can do about it. Wolfpack Way, the implementation of that road is what caused the problem. I think everybody can agree, we may disagree on the degree of the problem, but everybody can agree that Wolfpack Way caused the problem. Putting a school there caused the problem. Our only play here as the voice of the citizens is to not approve that road as a county road until this problem gets fixed. We do have, this is chairman's report. Just let me say my piece. I will give you an opportunity to talk. This is where we have an opportunity, but also an obligation to do something about it. Just like Congress holds the purse strings to the federal government, we can stop things that are in our purview if we know that they were the reason a problem started. And I'm pledging right now that I will not vote to ever pass Wolfpack Way until this issue is cleared up. The director of schools, I've talked with him. He's aware that this is an issue. The email that I got today that I sent a question, it's been like a couple weeks ago. He replied that, let's see, I sent it on, I know that people are getting really upset about not getting responses. I sent the email on December 17th. I got a response today saying that we will send out communications to parents in the next few days asking parents to not block the driveways during pickup and drop-off. So he's aware there's an issue. I don't know that there's a lot being done about it. I know that he and Superintendent Ellis have spoken on the issue, and Toby, you may have more to add to that later on because we've talked outside of this committee, and hopefully they are looking at ways to get the cars off the road. But I want to remind everybody on the committee that whether you work for another department in the government or whether you are friends or formerly worked for a department of the government, when you sit down at this table, you put on a different hat. You work for the people when you sit here. We have to disregard who we like and who our friends are and who we trust to do the right thing. We don't trust at this table. We may trust, but we verify. We oversight the departments. It's our job to listen to the public and put forth their complaints and try to get things done for them, despite who you may work for at your regular job or who you used to work for or who you're friends with. And it can get very uncomfortable at times. We all know this because some of the people that we have to talk to may be our buddies, maybe our friends, and we like them in every other avenue, but we've got to address something uncomfortable and talk about things that may make them feel uncomfortable. So I just want to say that and just to remind everybody that we work for the people. And with that, I'll let you go ahead and say what you're going to say.
You were talking about Wolfpack Way not being adopted as a county road. I posed this question. There again, it's a double-edged sword. If it is adopted as, my hearing aids are going off, so bear with me. Where's my wife? She's probably laughing now. If Wolfpack Way is adopted as a county road, will that take that road out of the control of the school system to where cars can go up to on Wolfpack Way?
Right now, it's a design issue, is what I've been told, and Mr. Ellis has even come up with some good solutions as far as one of the citizens even said there's a 1.5 mile strip there where cars can be staged. They can turn right, go down, do a U-turn, and stage down that whole road, whatever. It's a communication issue between the director of schools and the principals of those schools and the parents that all needs to be worked out. There's plenty of real estate, we'll all agree on that. They can pave a corral out there to park cars in on those 88 acres if they want to. But parking them on the road illegally is not an option. And that's where I think the highway department has something to say about it with regards to enforcement of law and design of an inferior design causing a problem with an existing design that used to work. The school system has created something, not on purpose, they probably thought it was going to work, but now it's been proven not to work. For 3 years now, it's been getting worse and worse. And with those 3 schools having a total capacity that's half full, it's only going to get worse. The elementary school, I think, is 2/3 full. The middle school's like half full, and the high school's like 1/3 full. So total, it's going to increase. I've looked at the numbers. It's going to double by the time all of them are capped out. So our time to do something is now. Our play is to withhold the adoption of that Wolfpack Way and make the school board, make the school system responsible to fix the issue with the help of our expertise road superintendent that's on our board here that can communicate with them, and hopefully they can just do some common sense things that don't cost a lot of money. Because if the county does it, guess what? It's going to cost a lot of money. We're going to find a way to make it cost a lot more than it should have cost. And it's going to be on down the road years from now.
It's going to cost us no matter what, whether they do it or whether we do it. But another thing too, this is not the only school in this county that we have this problem. Anytime that you have a school, even a smaller school, it's just not the magnitude of like Liberty Creek or even Gallatin, anything like that. But you still have that problem whenever you have dismissal and whenever kids go into school, because they have to be there by a certain time. It's a certain time frame. There's no traffic since school has been out. You haven't had a problem, have you? No.
Speeding.
Well,
Yeah.
just keep
Yeah, of course you haven't.
let's keep focused here so we don't get off on the side.
But what I'm getting at
I just want to
is,
remind everybody that we're supposed to keep everything in the table right now, just so it stays.
what I'm getting at is, it is, whenever you have school getting out and 50% of your student population are car riders, then you're gonna have backup. Even small schools, you have backup, but within a certain time frame. And I know it's aggravating, and I'm not making excuses by no means for anybody, but within a certain time frame, it's opened up. I've heard, let's hire more deputies. Well, that would be great, but are we gonna have one at every school? You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. I'm gonna make a procedural call just real quick and move us into old business so we can continue this discussion. It's the first item on there, so.
I want to say
Go.
something.
He was first, but you're in the queue. You're next.
So I just, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for letting me talk. But I think it's amazing that so many folks showed up because, I mean, that's really who we work for. It's somewhere between a voluntary representative spot and we get a stipend of their money in order to do this job. And so since literally 100% are my people out here, I mean, the whole county is my people too, but these are really my people. I had to say one thing that I feel like they would want me to say right now, and I'm not even talking to them right now, but I know that the previous commissioner said something, and there's a lot of truth to what he said. But there's one thing that's different, because I sat in the traffic at Beach before, and that's terrible. It's horrific. And it's been backed up all the way back around Tyree Springs. But that's not what the issue is that we're talking about. That's one of the issues. That's an annoyance. But the issue is the fact that there's nobody at Beach sitting in an illegal turn lane. And that just doesn't happen. So that's where it's completely different between the two. If we start talking about annoyances, then yeah, it looks like they're the same. But they're not. And another thing is that's a state road, and there's a whole lot of issues in that. altogether. But the thing is we have the county right here where these folks are having to sit here. And I mean, everybody in their right mind, when they learn to drive, everyone is taught to avoid driveways, whether it be Walgreens or the McLards, wherever it is. You just avoid those driveways because you want to let people get out. It's just what common courtesy is. But that's not the point. The point is the fact that if people's being rude or not, there are laws being broken, and there will be, I believe they're 1,000% right, unfortunately. I believe that there will be people killed right there, and we'll talk about it for years. Oh, remember how that they came and voiced their opinion for 2 or 3 years and we didn't do anything. It doesn't matter if we can or can't. We can say, well, it's not our problem, and it is our problem. We may not be able to do anything, but it is our problem because it's their problem. So anything that's their problem is our problem. And I think that we had to look at the fact that there's a few issues that have gone wrong. And you go back to the way that there was the traffic was moving better when there was a deputy down there, but that deputy was actually the school resource officer. So the SRO is a vital part, maybe the most important part of the school in the days of school shootings out of everybody, over teachers or anybody, principals or anything, because that's the one thing that's keeping them safe in that school above all, hopefully as a deterrent, hopefully. And, and I know that we got one right here that does a great job and cares so much about his kids. And so I know that every one of them cares about that. So if we're pulling them away from that school, that's not right even to the SRO, because it's not giving them an opportunity to defend those kids if something went down. But another thing that's an issue is the fact that that turn lane keeps being violated. And it would be a simple fix, but we cannot direct anyone. We can't make anyone put a marker where they're not able to cross over like you suggested before. We can't do it. It's not adopted. And so the only thing is, before adoption, we can request that has to be met before we vote on it. But the thing is there's a lot of issues. I've come over that and it feels uncomfortable when I'm leaving Liberty Creek on that road. I live back in that area too. But if I go over that, it feels wrong. It feels like I'm violating the law to go straight without stopping, because they're stopping over here, and it just feels like there's a lot of danger going on there. So I think that the most important thing, first of all, I want to make a motion that we send this on and request, we can't make anybody, but just request as citizens, as the commission, that it be added to the agenda of the school board, number one, for this next month.
For the school board or education committee?
School board. I think, number one, it needs to be added to the school board, because they're the ones that can make that decision. And they can say, yes, we're going to help you folks, or they can say, no, we're not. But that's ultimately, I believe that Commissioner Harrison was right on the fact that it may not be something we can do, but we can make that request. And I believe we send that on, and I think that must happen.
Let me ask Eric, is that something that can come from you to the school board, or how does that need to be officially asked? Or is that just something a school board member has to come up with on their own to ask for it to be added?
Generally, when this happens, it ends up on the commission floor, and then it's a commission vote, and then I would send a letter that says...
We can't do it just out of committee as a request for it to be added?
I have not done it that way before.
Can we try to do it like that? Because it's ultimately up to them to take it up, whether it come from a citizen, whether it come from a committee, or whether it come from the full commission. It's just about how much weight does it have, and I don't know that it has any more weight one way or the other. We're asking them to do something that they're asking us to do.
If I was advising you how to do it, I would suggest doing it through commission, because that gives you the full weight of a commission vote.
Okay.
And then you've got actually the chairman. It's a request of the chairman of the commission at that time.
So is that what your motion is?
Okay, so I make a motion, 2 things. And when I say this, I'm hoping the folks listening online or out here will listen, because I believe that this is something that would help. I believe everyone out here should email their school board member, or all of them, and just request to get added to the agenda so they can help figure out what to do. Because I know they want something good. I know the school board wants something good. I don't think there's any doubt that they don't want this to be fixed, because it's their citizens too. So therefore, that needs to be emailed. Number 2, I make a motion that we just pass it on to the full commission and we vote on it, and just as an official request, just say, would you look at it? I don't even want to direct them on what to do. would you look at it and help fix it? Like, can we fix this problem? Because I'm not an engineer, and they're not either. So, well, some of them are actually, but that's not their job to engineer something.
So your motion
And
can't
so
be to
as their
ask.
representative, all I'm asking, I'm just saying out loud, email
So
your
your
people.
one motion is to send it
But
to the
my
commission.
one motion is to send it to the commission and just say, hey, would you please just request? And just nothing weird or strange about that, just a common, please look at it, because they can help, because they're elected too. And I believe they want to help. If they know the issue, they may not even be aware of it.
Okay, so your language is for them to look at the
No
traffic.
resolution, nothing
Traffic
like
at the
that.
intersection of Latimer and Hunters, Latimer and Long Hollow, and Latimer and Wolfpack.
Yes, and just how to keep,
And
how to
specifically the
stop from
stack up of
safety
people in the turn
violations.
lane, which is the most egregious of the three.
How to stop safety violations, that's whatever that is. Because I think they've got to get some issues fixed. I mean, they've been talking about it before I was even elected.
I'll second that motion for the sake of conversation and discussion, and I do want to hear what Superintendent Ellis had to say, because it may add to or change this motion, or change it altogether, or
Can
whatever.
you tell me those three intersections again?
Latimer and Hunters, Latimer and Long Hollow,
Yeah, and Wolfpack
Latimer
Way.
and Wolfpack Way.
Wolfpack Way and Hunters.
Wolfpack Way and Hunters, sorry, yes.
Yes, that's true.
Sorry.
So Latimer and Hunters, Latimer and
Long Hollow.
Long Hollow.
And Hunters and Wolfpack Way.
And just to be clear, I'm not asking that the traffic be alleviated. I want that, and I know they all want that. I'm just
Safety
asking
issues.
that there's a discussion about how to alleviate the violations of the traffic issues, the actual citation, whatever that looks like.
Safety and law
And-
violations, because it's
and
about
to-
people getting home and the safety issue.
Yes, and to continue that, and to continue in good favor of what Commissioner Harrison said, I'm going to request, as chairman of Health and Emergency Services, that this whole thing gets added to that immediately after this committee. And because the thing is, and then I'm going to make the same recommendation. I'll go ahead and say it out loud, that I'm going to recommend that we send it on to the full commission also as a separate issue, requesting it. I think that it just shows that they have a voice for once.
All right, we have a
Yeah.
motion and a second on the floor, but I'm gonna give Superintendent Ellis opportunity. He was in the queue first, if he wants to speak to the motion to try to change or add to, or if it's something totally different, I'll let him go ahead.
I will, I just want to add to it. I'm kind of like Tim, it's, usually we have a couple people here, and we got a full room. So let me take this, all of y'all are connected, and evidently y'all communicate very well with each other. And I've communicated with several of you sitting in this room tonight. The Long Hollow Latimer Lane intersection is something that is already in the process with TDOT. We're gonna get a light there. I don't know if it's in engineering or what positions it's in with the state, but it is a project that's coming to get a light there. When I took office, this is my first term, so when I took office, I mentioned that to the state as soon as I got in, and we got to talking about it. And Paul, a friend of mine who was over Region 3, said it's in the works, and since then Jay and me have talked about it, and they're definitely working on it to get a light there. It's much needed, because Latimer to me is not the scary part. It's coming from Billettsville, coming around that curve with all the traffic pulling out, because you've got trucks coming out of the Gallatin side building up steam to go up the hill, and then you've got trucks and people coming down the hill trying to ride the brakes and not doing a very good job of doing that. And so then when you get this congestion in this spot, I agree with you, it creates havoc. So that's something that's in the works. Shackle Island and Old Drakes Creek Road, same thing. We have wrecks there. This year we had an ambulance get rear-ended there. Same deal. And that's a project that's coming with the city of Hendersonville, county funds, and state funds, and on that as well. Susan, thank you for bringing up the sign. We're fixing to get some more signs down here at the end of Hunters Lane and Wolfpack Way that's going to be solar lit up on each side of the road. to let people know. You were talking about the striping, when you do the thermoplastic, a lot of times the life of it, it doesn't last as long as the signage, so by the time you go in and redo it several times, the signs are a cheaper option, so I'm getting them in. I gotta check them flashing lights for whatever reason, it takes a little longer to get them in, so that's gonna happen down at the end. Tammy, to your point, we're just gonna get some rumble strips on the other side of the road too, to match up with what's there. I mean, people going around it is, you know, MUCD laws is set up for people that abide by the law. And I've stood in your driveway on 3 different occasions and hear people almost hitting passing gear coming up the hill. Y'all talked about the stop sign down coming out of Wolfpack Way. The reason it's designed exactly how it should be if people are doing the right things. It's for flow. That's the major, that's the road that's got all the traffic coming. It needs to be released, right? But it don't need to be sitting there where they just build up steam. I mean, it's moms with kids. Tammy's right. It's moms with kids, and they're almost hitting passing gear. I'm sitting there on the side of the road going, Lord, I'm gonna get run over. So I agree with you, and I need to meet with you. And of course, what I'm talking about with her was giving her a different entrance in her driveway so they can see both sides of the hill. Because you got grandmas pulling out with grandkids that are gonna get hurt if some of this doesn't stop. I have people call me every day about speed limit signs of 30, and people are driving 50, 60 mile an hour. And I said, that's set up for law-abiding citizens. I was joking with them a while ago. I said, I had a guy complaining about it, and I said, the good sheriff comes out and writes tickets for me. He's one of the ones that gets the ticket. You know, it's usually the neighbors that live on the road. So I agree with this. We're gonna do some things that makes this better, and I've had several conversations, including today, with the superintendent of schools, and I've told him, we've met, me and Marshall Boyd even diagrammed a map and said to him that will help with the overflow, and Tim and Jamie touched on it a while ago. The overflow should be on the upper station side coming in. There's a lot of real estate on that side. And when people come down and they see it's backing up the intersection, just go down, turn around, come back the other way, or better yet, just come in that other way. And when they do that, it's gonna be a lot better flow. And one of the things that we got to do, I do not want to take the SRO officer as important as he was, but the thing was, for the first couple of years, they did that for 2-3 weeks, and it kind of educated the traffic flow. But it did. But we'll see from year to year, it changes. You know, you got different parents, different kids, and they're driving up on it, and they just do the same thing. So, you know, this is not my road. I hear you. We're working on it, and I mean, it's one of these things. I applaud the effort here to move it to the commission, to set up a meeting with Board Education. I think that's commendable, but I want you to know your concern is my concern, and I'm doing the best I can with what I got. So,
can I ask you, you touched on Director Langford, he said something about trying to get flow in and change the pattern in the schools?
He said he was gonna get with the principals and talk to him about that.
Because that's more than he said to me, so that's good. That's one step further.
I got hoped up today to talk to him.
I know he said he's gonna meet with his team in January, but, okay. You had a comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Is this on the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
It's something that we might can, write off it. You stated that we haven't accepted Wolfpack Way yet. What about the plan set? Could we not get with the engineer record, go back, revisit the plans to see where we might can add some more storage capacity on maybe Wolfpack Lane or whatever?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's already there. The real estate's there. People will come in the other way or get in line there.
I think what he's saying and what I envisioned was off of what you said, if they take a right and pass by the school, head towards the middle school, and then turn into, say, a half of a cul-de-sac that enables them to do a nice U-turn and then get going the correct way, you would have to put like a little belly in the road out there for them to turn into and come back out of. I don't know, engineering wise, how you're coming back into a road that somebody could be coming on too, so you'd have to engineer that to make it safe. But the real estate's there, but it may need some alteration. And I think that's what he's talking about, is re-engineer that little section there to where it's not just a straight up U-turn in the middle of Wolfpack Way.
Yeah.
Because that would give room for growth in the future to do it the right way.
And basically what I was saying was just going back with the, whoever the engineer of record was, and maybe get with our folks at maybe planning or whatever, and have them to look at what we have, inventory the site, what's out there now, and have them out there when all these vehicles are there, and come up with a solution themselves, and then report back to the commission.
Well, that would go through.
We haven't accepted it.
Yeah.
It's not.
So our play is not accepting it. We can't really say anything except for make suggestions to, I think this is the right direction, Board of Education or Health and Emergency
to have the
Service
plans
to-
revisited,
Yeah.
to look at it and probably offer a solution during this time, whether it be extra storage capacity on either one of the roads.
And as both the people's liaison and our liaison of this committee, Commissioner Ellis could express all of the ideas that have come out of this committee to the Board of Education to help them find the right solution. So, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, I love that you said that. I love that you were speaking of that too, because I know I've never spoken to anybody in the whole county that's on any capacity of any representation that ever wants the citizens to be unsafe. I don't think that there's anybody. I know that I've seen Toby, all the things he's done. I mean, he fights really hard to make sure that those roads are proper and they look better than they've ever looked in my whole history of living here with what he's done, and I appreciate that. But I actually appreciate what Tim said, and I'm gonna amend it to include whatever it was you just said, just to say, to be revisited. Just recommend maybe that they be revisited, and then just ask that it be added to the agenda for discussion to be revisited in order to alleviate this and make, just for safety issues. That's the number one thing I'm asking right now is safety issues.
So
whatever he was, would you
to revisit with the engineer on record, to look at the plans with the problems that are now known, and see if they can come up with a better solution than what was originally designed.
Yes,
Is that okay to
and
put that
that's
on
exactly.
on that motion?
It's not that it's a problem, it's you're really getting into the rabbit hole and telling them what
type
to
thing.
do.
Yeah, it's just a request.
Okay, well, it's just
It
a
gives
request.
direction to the request. I agree with you. I think there needs to be some direction, because we've been talking about an issue for months now. They're gonna be handed an issue that they're just now being made aware of and don't know the totality of it. So with that motion, you have some explanation and some direction and somebody to fall back on that knows the history of this, that can speak to that. Or if, Toby, if you could express all that to them, maybe we could just leave that part out of it.
Well, and the thing is, we've talked about this for a long time, and I'm doing everything I can under my jurisdiction.
I understand.
I handle the roads in the right of way that are
Owned
official
by us,
county
yes.
roads. I do the repairs, the striping, guardrails, paving, patching, shoulders, culverts, things of that nature. I don't deal with the traffic jams.
But
It's not me, and so I'm doing everything I can from like a sign perspective and trying to be as safe as possible, and just out of my care and concern, I'm trying to work with everybody to see if we can get this resolved. So that's what I'm trying to do.
I just, as a committee, it's our job to have oversight, but with that comes foresight. We see something coming that is a problem. It is a problem now, it's gonna be a problem worse later, and once we adopt it, you're gonna own all that. So it is something you don't have authority to say so, but it's in your best interest, so it's not more of a headache for you when we do adopt it. So if you'd rather us leave it for you to suggest some things, we could go that route, or we could go the route what Commissioner Teacher said and put a suggestion along with that motion. What would you prefer?
Or both.
Both.
Both, yeah, or both.
I mean,
I like that.
well, if you are gonna go to the commission with it to vote on it, to talk.
What's
to the
going
board of-
parallel?
go to talk to the Board of Education. I mean, I think from what Scott said, he was talking to his personnel about changing some things on the traffic it's educational. A lot of it is educational. So I think that will help.
So, just one last thing, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Then we need to vote
just
on
to
this.
be clear, we're not gonna go over there as a commission and speak to the Board of Education. I'm just requesting that it just get added to the agenda, because I mean, I don't believe there's anybody on the
You
school
can't.
board. No, I'm saying.
Well, you can't, so it's moot.
Can't what?
This committee can't go over there
Oh,
and
yeah.
participate.
Yeah, exactly, but I
I
just,
may be there
I
in
just
case
wanna
I
make
have
sure.
questions, but I'm
But
no authority.
all I'm saying is that, I believe Commissioner Harrison was right. I don't think he was being ill-spirited, even by the fact of saying that it's not something we can do. But I'm just trying to do it in good due diligence of what the folks want, because if it weren't for this committee, it would not be heard of at all. I mean, they've been speaking for 2 years and not gotten anything done, but it's always come to this committee. And I'm thankful as all get out that at least it's kept it on the tongues of folks and on the minds of folks in order to maybe get something done. I'd love suggestions from any of the commissioners.
So let's hone in on your motion and let's put that to bed.
Let's first off, who's the motion maker here?
Motion maker, I seconded it.
Okay, we got a couple of things coming up here. One is, the road superintendent has already said that Latimer Lane and Long Hollow are being addressed. So does that need to come out of your motion?
It's gonna be a state project.
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I think because of the way that it's
There's
being
something that's
handled.
temporarily gonna have to be done, maybe. It may be something 5 years from now the state finally handles.
All right, so
but-
you're gonna keep those three
Yeah, it's-
locations.
it's a
I just wanna
general-
be clear before we put it on the table.
I think-
It's Latimer Lane and Hunter's Lane. It's Latimer Lane and Long Hollow, and it's Hunter's Lane and Wolfpack Way.
Yes.
And then item number 2 is to have the engineer revisit the road layout and do what?
No, can I restate it?
Yes.
Okay, so all it is just a request that those roads that you just mentioned are added to the agenda of the school board for discussion, to come to solution. And part of that solution could be as just, the only suggestion is,
To
you know, would
request.
they consider having that
Meeting with the
meeting
engineer on
with the
record.
engineer on record, and just seeing if there's some other method, because I don't know what to tell.
To revisit the plan.
Inventory,
With the known
inventory the road,
problems.
see where they could get widening at in certain places and whatnot.
To revisit the plan with the known issues to
Of
date.
of violations,
Of safety and
traffic violations.
legal violations to date.
Yeah, I know it's a lot.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
The school board doesn't have any more authority over traffic violations than this committee does. This is the whole reason why that I suggested this needs to be in Health and Emergency Services. They are they are in advisory capacity with the Sheriff's Department. That, we don't even know the motion that we're trying to make because we don't have any, it's not under our purview.
I hear your point, but it's gonna come up in Health and Emergency Services also, so that maybe they can address the legal portions of it for the temporary. In the interim, that could be handled while the school board is looking at solutions to fix it to where it's not just a law enforcement issue, it's more of they can't do that anymore. Because we know human nature, if they can do it, they will do it. And people will turn a blind eye eventually as soon as the police officer's gone.
And just one other point that I'll make is that I think, and maybe I misunderstood this, but it was my understanding that there was a statement made about that in this committee that speeding and that kind of thing could fall under the highway superintendent. It cannot fall under the highway superintendent. He has no more
No.
authority to arrest them than my grandson.
No, I don't know who said that.
So,
No, not speeding. Yeah.
It's gonna take all of us. It's gonna take the highway
Multiple
committee.
committees, yeah.
It's gonna take Health and Emergency Services, and it's gonna take budget, and possibly other committees
And
to
school
get this
board.
done.
Yep.
Because if new deputies need to be hired, then that's going to have to go through budget, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If Toby needs more money, to do whatever needs to be done, that's gonna have to go through budget. Probably have to go through health and emergency services too. So it's gonna take all of us, not just us, not just health and emergency services, and not just budget, but it's gonna take all of us.
You're
to get it
absolutely
done.
right.
Yeah.
With all that being said, if there's no other comments, I hope we can all come to agreement to push this on to at least bring it to the school board's attention to look at this and get it to a next level to somebody who can do something about it.
Point of
Do you
clarification,
have one more?
motion
Yes.
is to go to recommend to the
School board of education.
To the commission to draft a resolution to request the school board.
No.
Correct.
No, I don't think there needs to be a resolution.
It's gonna be a
It
resolution.
has to be to do the request. It's a formal request,
Okay,
so
got
it
it.
has to go before.
Yeah, it's no different than talking about library books.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah.
Got it.
Yes, we all know.
Everybody agree? Any other comments?
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Does it need to go to education also? I don't know. I'm asking, or budget? Just-
They can hear this meeting and one of us can mention to them if they want to take it up and have some input on it. They're free to put it on their agenda. We can mention to them, they can add it to their agenda tonight if they want to, but I don't think we need to say anything to request it to be or anything like that. We're already bringing it to health emergency services. I think making it publicly known to push it is what we're doing tonight, and that's the best we can do.
Question to the attorney, are we doubling up by running it through multiple committees to ask? I mean, this will probably pass on the floor.
Well, if I could answer that, I think that one of the issues was the safety concern that is immediate and the law enforcement aspect will probably,
That's
to
fine.
your
I'm
point,
just-
they're the
I'm
only
just
ones that can
asking him,
enforce
'cause
the
I mean,
law.
He's gonna have to drive it up two resolutions now. If Health Emergency Services passes a request, and we pass a request, now you're drawing up two resolutions.
It makes it more powerful. I don't see the harm in it, but you tell me.
I think I know the answer.
Here's the thing, there's no problem with highway addressing this because it does touch on highways. Health and Emergency Services would have been a better starting point because we're talking about safety concerns of roads and we're talking about people driving the roads illegally, speeding, whatever the case may be. So then going from Health and Emergency Services to Commission in one resolution, we could have done the same thing. Whether HEMS would have come out with what you're coming out with, I don't know. So this is gonna be one of those issues. It might be better to refer this to HEMS to send up to Commission, to try to keep it one. If both of y'all shoot it straight up to Commission, we're dealing with two different resolutions unless one gets killed on the floor. Well, hell, they could both get killed on the floor, but
We've done a lot of research and gathered a lot of information. I'd hate to start over at square one at HEMS. I think it best to at least come out of here, and if it comes with dual resolutions, may the best one win. They may merge together, or one committee may look at what the other one came up with and dissolve one before it goes to the full commission. I think it couldn't hurt,
We
right?
can always ask the night of to combine both of them.
That's true.
I got a solution.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bring it up, and I'm gonna just say that I'm gonna bring up the fact, if anybody wasn't on this committee, that it was already brought up in here.
That's true. He's
And then
Health
I'm gonna-
Emergency
I'm gonna
Services
request that
chairman.
we vote on supporting it. That's all I'm gonna do. That way it's not messy. We're gonna support it or not.
Question.
Thank you. I second that. Call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
You're not ready for call for question.
I always vote no.
How many we got? 2 no's on the call for question?
Mine's the no.
He's a no.
Okay, all right, so the yays have it. I know he does that just to give anybody room to speak if they want to keep speaking, so that's fine. Now we're gonna call, we're actually on the motion. All those in favor of this motion going?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
you never
unanimous.
told me where it was going, straight to Commission.
Straight to commission, yes. Okay. Report of the road superintendent. I have no new business.
All right, I just wanted to, I have the official road list that's been updated for this year where we've added a few little, it's on some of our county subdivisions. Some of the roads have been developed and approved and passed.
Motion approved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Is that all you got, Toby?
That's it.
Okay, before we get to county mayor, he's not here. Gave me nothing to read. That's it. Last thing is adjournment, so I'm adjourning it. I ain't even gonna ask for a adjourn.
You be around.
Don't matter what you think.
Well, okay, I'll catch up.
Ever since I was told